Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. From City News Everywhere, Premier Doug Ford has declared the improper release of more than 150 inmates from Ontario jails between 2021 and 2025 to be unacceptable, promising a full investigation. Global News, through Freedom of Information laws, uncovered documents detailing these mistaken releases, attributing them primarily to errors made at the jails and in court, alongside some administrative and human errors. Solicitor General Michael Kersner also committed to understanding the root cause, though he did not outline specific immediate remedies for the reported incidents. This issue comes to light as the province grapples with severe overcrowding in its correctional facilities. Ford's government plans a significant jail expansion, projecting up to 6,000 new beds by 2050, a multi-billion-dollar undertaking. Opposition Liberals criticized the government for failing to acknowledge the severity of the situation during question period, instead blaming the previous Liberal administration for past underinvestment. Critics advocate for diverting funds towards upstream solutions like reducing court backlogs and investing in supportive housing and mental health services, arguing these would more effectively alleviate jail overcrowding, where approximately 80% of inmates are awaiting trial and are presumptively innocent. The Canadian press reports on several key stories today, including an update on the Artemis II lunar mission. Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen and his NASA crewmates held a news conference after successfully completing their 10-day flight around the moon, marking humanity's return to lunar travel after over 50 years. Hansen made history as the first non-American to travel beyond low Earth orbit, with the mission laying groundwork for a permanent human lunar presence and future Mars missions. Domestically, Canada's Culture Minister Mark Miller stated the federal government is very seriously considering a social media ban for children, acknowledging it as an important tool against online harms, but not a complete solution. This follows Australia's recent similar law. In business news, Amazon is set to introduce a 3.5% fuel surcharge on fulfillment fees for Canadian sellers starting Friday, citing elevated fuel and logistics costs exacerbated by the conflict in the Middle East. Internationally, Russia launched a major overnight aerial bombardment on civilian areas in Ukraine with hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles, killing at least 16 people and injuring more than 80 in cities like Kyiv and Odessa. Lastly, residents of Lytton, BC, a village largely destroyed by a 2021 wildfire, expressed concerns over potential financial ruin. They worry that new federal government-funded infrastructure, including a $26 million community hub and swimming pool, will be overbuilt for the village's current population of about 75, leading to unsustainable maintenance costs. A global helium shortage stemming from the conflict in the Middle East and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz has provided a significant boost to Canada's nascent helium industry, according to CBC News. Qatar, a major global helium supplier, has been unable to export the gas for weeks due to regional shipping challenges and damage to a key facility. This disruption has reportedly caused helium prices to double. Helium, a vital gas used in medical MRI systems, rockets, semiconductor manufacturing, and welding, is now in high demand globally. Canada, holding the world's fifth largest helium reserves, produced only about 6 million cubic meters in 2015 out of a global total of 190 million. Duncan McKenzie of Global Helium notes the situation creates a tailwind for Canadian producers, attracting crucial investment needed for new facilities, pipelines, and wells. A major hurdle for the domestic industry remains the lack of a liquefaction facility in Canada, forcing producers to export raw helium to the U.S. for processing before some is re-imported. Richard Dunn of the Helium Developers Association of Canada is lobbying the federal government for incentives to support the sector's growth. A new study released today by the Fraser Institute, an independent Canadian public policy think tank, and distributed via newswire.ca, highlights a significant design flaw in Canada's equalization program. The reform, intended to restrain costs, has actually resulted in $10.5 billion in higher payments to have-not provinces since the 2018-19 fiscal year. The study, titled Equalization is Broken: How the Continuous Growth Requirement Inhibits Reform, points to the 2009 Fixed Growth Rate Rule. This rule mandates that total equalization payments grow in line with Canada's economic growth, initially aiming to control costs when the fiscal gap between provinces was widening. However, as provincial fiscal capacities have converged since around 2015, this rule now acts as a floor, continuously increasing payments rather than allowing for downward adjustments. This flaw has led to over 10% of equalization program costs being higher due to this rule in several years since 2018 and 19. The Fraser Institute emphasizes that fixing this growth requirement flaw is crucial for any meaningful future reforms to the equalization program. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.